Okay, welcome everyone, and good Zevach.
Everybody mute.
We're sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Arye, Rivka bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam bas Gad Yosef ben Tzim ben Yaakov Zeb, and for a great shidduch for Chai Tzivya bas Shoshana Gittel, by Baruch Ian Lili Nishmas Yaakov Chai ben Abba Esther bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKain, Lefur Shalema Feliba bas Anya, by A.B. Spry, for the spiritual, emotional, and physical protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel ben Beila Shein de Rivka, by Mark Frankel, Lili Nishmas, his father, Yisrael Tzvi ben Chaim Yeshua Falak, and by Berish Geseman, L'Refur Shalema for Shoshana Bas Adina Chana. We want to learn for Chaver Adaf, Aaron ben Sora, that's Aaron Swade, who was going through a difficult health crisis. Aaron ben Sora should have a L'Refur Shalema b'Sech Shechel Yisrael. We'll learn for a chaver of this daf for at least 4 cycles. Shlomi Yol ben Hensha, you should have a refuah shalema b'seich shechel Yisrael.
My wife Mordechai Tzvi ben Rus Chana.
Mordechai Tzvi ben Rus Chana should have a refuah shalema b'seich shechel Yisrael. We holding by the new Mishnah. Did I do this already? Let's see. Yeah. We're holding about a new Mishnah on Daf Nun Daled Amid Beis. Zivchei Shalmei Tiber V'Hashamais. The communal shlamim. Now, all shlamim is kachim kalim, except for the one shlamim, and that's the kifsei atzeres, the lambs of Shavuos, which were brought with the shtei alechem. That is Shalmei Tzibur. Those were kachim. So Shalmei Tzibur, V'Hashamais, and the guilt offerings. Elu hein Hashamais. There are 5 guilt offerings. Ashim Gezelis. This is if a person owed money and denied it, whether he stole, whether he had a deposit, whether it was a lost article, and he denied it.
What are we saying?
Nun Dalid Amid Beis at the Mishnah on the bottom.
I think we're up to Nindal and Manala.
What? Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, you're all. I stand corrected. I tried to jip you out of a blot.
It's okay.
Could you imagine? What a thief. Okay, let's. So what did I do? What did I key in there? I keyed in wrong in Koloshin. I keyed in wrong in Koloshin.
Rabbi Weiss, is this going to acquire a Sham Gzelos now?
No, but I did think about you. Don't worry.
Shine. Okay, I walked into it. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Torah Broadcasting System of Kol HaLashon. Please enter ID. Please enter your passport. Hello, Rav Moshe Meir Weiss. To record, press 1. To listen, press 2. Choose the topic of the shir that you are about to deliver. For a shir on the topic, Seder Moed, Rav Moshe Weiss, you have chosen to record into a current shiurim. Rav Moshe Meir Weiss, Daf Yomi Shiurim, current Masechta. Enter the number of the daf which you are about to give. Daf Nun Daled. You are being transferred to standby till the start of the shir. When you're ready to start the shir, press 5. You are now being transferred to broadcast. To end, hang up.
Okay, we are holding 3 lines from the top of Nun Daled Amid Aleph. So the Gemara says, Meisvei, Oylas Ha'oif, the burnt offering of the... Now, if you remember, we said that on the southeastern corner, there was no yesod, there was no base protruding outward. Now, the problem is it says, Oylas Ha'oif, the burnt offering of a bird, Ketzad Hoysanasis. What was the procedure? They would pinch its neck, or arpa from the back, from the nape, Mavdil, and unlike the chatas oif, the head was completely severed from the body. Matzah dama, and press its blood al kira mizbeach. Now, it was done on the southeastern corner, and before they went to the mizbeach, the blood drained down. But if there was nothing there in the southeastern corner, and there was no kedusha because it was not in the chelik of Binyamin, so then how could the flood pour down into nothingness? If it didn't have any kedusha of Yisaid, ba'avira ba'alma hudakavid, he did it into open, not sacred airspace. So here the Gemara says a big chiddush. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Eimer kachisnu, they made a stipulation that the ground belonged to Yehuda, but the airspace belonged to Binyamin. So the airspace was sacred. Kachisnu, avira de Binyamin, the airspace belonged to Binyamin, karka de Yehuda. Now, we learn that the Yisaid snaked around the northern side, the western side, went one amma onto the southern side and one amma onto the eastern side, and the rest of the southern and eastern side just didn't have a base. However, there's a machlokes about it. My loy hava lo Yisaid. What does it mean that it didn't have a base? Rav Amma Bebinyan. Rav says, like we learned, that on the northern and western side there was a base, and an amma snaking around the eastern side, and an amma snaking around the southern side, and the rest of the southern side and the eastern side did not have a base. It was empty. Levi says, no. Physically, there was a base all around. Physically, it was a square with a base all around. What it means is bidamim, that on the southern and the eastern side, it didn't have a kedusha to receive the blood. But there was a physical base there. Rav Metargem, Rav interpreted it, Be'achsante yitpanei madbecha, that in Binyamin's inheritance, the Mizbeach is built. The rest, in Yehuda's inheritance, there was no actual Mizbeach built. So it was empty. Levi interpreted it, Ba'achsante, in Binyamin's Yerusha, Yitpanei Mikdasha. It was built that which was sanctified. There was a structure even all around, even in the property of Yehuda, it just wasn't sanctified. In other words, Mokum Mekudesh L'Damim, a place which was sanctified for blood. But physically, the Yisaid went all around. So now the Gemara says, well, we're going to prove this. Tashma, HaYisaid HaYamahalach Al Pnei Kol HaTzafon. The Yisaid went around the whole northern side, Al Pnei Kol HaMa'ariv, and on the whole western side, Oichel B'Dorim Amma, and snaked around on the southern side an Amma Achas, or B'Mizrach Amma Achas, and on the eastern side an Amma. Now that sounds very much like Rav. My Oichel, so that sounds like it was only built physically in those areas. The other areas there was no Yisaid. So the Gemara says, no, my Oichel Nami, what does it mean it ate a Amma on the southern side and an Amma on the eastern side? It means Bedamim, that there you were able to apply blood. The other places you weren't able to apply blood, but there might be a physical Yisaid there. So the Gemara tries again. Tashma, Mizbeach HaYishloishim Mishtayim Al Shloishim Mishtayim. The Mizbeach was 32 by 32. Now that only fits if you say that the Yisaid went around. See, the Mizbeach itself was 30 amas, 30 by 30. The Yisaid, if it went an amma around all over, so then it would be 32 by 32. But if you hold that the amma didn't go around on two sides, so then it wouldn't be 32 by 32. Says the Gemara, no. When we say it's 32 by 32, it means that when you measure from, let's say, from the northern side to the southern side, counting that one amma on both sides, then it would be 32 by 32. Enochanami to the southeastern corner, it would be 31, because there was no Amma at all on the southeastern corner. So it doesn't mean it's universally 32 by 32. Tajma, this is interesting. The ramp went up the middle of the southern side. Now, according to Rav, there was no Yisaid on the southern side. So the ramp didn't go over a Yisaid, because there was no Yisaid. The ramp was in the middle. It was, yeah, it went flush to the Mizbeach. But it says that it went over the Yisaid. Now that's a problem. Tajman nimtza perech amal Yisaid. It went over the Amma of the Yisaid, v'Amma al Saivev, and an Amma on the ledge. But according to Rav, there was no Yisaid on the southern side. So what do you mean it was built over the Yisaid? Ema kineged Amma Yisaid v'al Amma Saivev. It means that it went where the Yisaid would have been. On the southern side, there's no Yisaid. And it went over the Amma of the ledge, which went around the whole thing. Tajma, the Tani Levi, now this is very interesting. How did they build the Mizbeach? So now the Gemara gives us an interesting look into how they built the Mizbeach. Keitzad Bainin es Mizbeach. How did they build the Mizbeach? First, Mevian Malbein Shein Shu Shloishim Ushtayim Al Shloishim Ushtayim. They brought a wooden frame that was 32 by 32. Vigovo Amma, with a height of an Amma. They brought a frame, a wooden frame, 32 by 32, with a height of an Amma. Umevi chiluke avonim mefulamis, and they brought smooth, damp stones, ben gedolos, ben ketanas, whether big or small. Umevi sid, and they brought lime, vicunya, and lead, vizephes, and tar. Umamacha, they mixed it, the lime, the lead, and the tar. V'shayfech, and they spilled it over the stones in the frame. V'zel mekayim Yisaid, and when it hardened, that was the Yisaid. Now, that sounds clearly like Levi, because if it was 32 by 32, that means the Yisaid went all around the entire perimeter. Now, they made another frame. Now this frame went to the ledge, to the Sovev. So then b'chayzer maybe malbein, they brought a frame, shu shloishim amma al shloishim amma, 30 by 30, v'govo chamesh amas, and its height was 5 amas, in order to bring it to the ledge. Or maybe chiluki avonim, and then they brought the damp smooth stones, and they brought the mixture of the lead, lime, and tar, and that made the area of the ledge. Then the chayzer maybe malbin. Then they brought a frame, shul chavkes al chavkes amas, that was 28 by 28 amas, v'goyva gimel amas, with a height of 3 amas, and then maybe chiluke, they brought the smooth stones that were damp, and a mixture of lead, tar, and lime, and that gave you the surface top of the Mizbeach. In other words, the Makam HaMaracha, the place of the pyre. V'u Makam HaMaracha. Now they had to make the 4 horns, the 4 corner piece horns that protruded from the surface top of the Mizbeach. How did they do that? Or maybe Malbein Shu Amma al Amma. They brought 4 frames, which was an Amma by an Amma and the height of an Amma. Or maybe Chiluke Avanim of Fulamas Ben Gedolos Ben Ketanas, and they brought the smooth stones. Or maybe Zephys V'kunyo Mamach, and they brought the tar and the lead. Or Mamacha mixed it with Shaifech, V'zel Keren. That was the corner piece. V'chein l'kol Keren v'Keren. And that's how they made the 4 corner pieces. So here you see clearly that if the original frame was 32 by 32, that means physically the side went all around, which is like Levi, that it physically went all around. The Chitema says the Gemara, the Gaius lay that they made it, but then they cut out the southern and the eastern side, No, that you're not allowed to cut. That's a no-no. Not allowed to cut stone. Remember we said that the Mizbeach, lo yisonif aleim barzel. You weren't allowed to wave metal on the Mizbeach. This is a famous Rashi. Rashi says that since the Mizbeach is a peacemaker, and it makes peace between us and our Father in heaven, it's protected from any metal. And Rashi says a kal v'chaimer, madach the Mizbeach, which is not an animate object. If it's a peacemaker, it will be saved from metal. Then human beings, if they practice and they make peace, surely they'll be saved from metal. That's why I always said that being a peaceful person is the biggest protection against the surgical scalpel and the root canalist drill and the car accident. Says the Gemara, oh, no, what they did is according to Rav, they put blocks of wood in the southern side and the eastern side so that it wouldn't fill up. And that gave you that should be empty. Says the Gemara, the mochis midei mitusei, they put something in the place on the southern and eastern side so it shouldn't fill up with the mixture. And then when it hardened, v'shakale, and they took it out. And he says they have to do that because we know the corner pieces, the horns of the Mizbeach, were hollow. But how could they be hollow if they filled them up? Because that the corner pieces that stuck out on the four corners of the Mizbeach, they were hollow, and it was filled like a basin. Kizov yois Mizbeach, like the corner pieces in the Mizbeach. So it was like a basin that was hollow, but if they filled it up with the rocks, how could it be hollow? So and they couldn't cut it because Hachanami Avon Shleimus Rachmana. Ella the Machis Midei Mitu say they put a block of wood inside it that it shouldn't fill up in the middle. V'shakale, and then they took it out. Hachanami the Machis Midei Mitu say on the southern and the eastern side they put a block there. V'shakale. Now here for those like Eddie, who gets very upset when there's a Agada to Gemara, because Eddie comes and he says, I'm not taking my no, he doesn't want to take his attention away from the, from his bookies and everything, what?
Where are we holding, Rebbe?
Where are we holding?
Where was the shomer that was supposed to be cut?
We're holding by Dorish Rava, which is 7. They use the shamer only for situations that we have marked that they use the shamer. They didn't use the shamer for this. We have certain situations where they use the shamer, but we know about it. Now, Dorish Rava. What is that which is written? Vayelech David u'Shmuel. David and Shmuel went. Vayeshvu b'noyos b'Rama, and they dwelled in noyos in Rama. Now that's a very difficult pasuk. That's like saying they dwelled in New Jersey and California. You can't dwell in New Jersey and California at the same time. So how did they, Noyos is one place and Rama is a different place. How did they dwell in Noyos and Rama? So, V'chima inyan Noyos eitzel Rama. How could you be in Noyos and also in Rama? No, homiletically it means, Elishayu Yoishvin b'Rama. They were living in Rama, which was Shmuel's city. V'oiskin b'Noyos shel Olam. And they were doing a analysis of the beauty of the world. The beauty of the world was the Beis Hamikdash, and they were trying to determine where the Beis Hamikdash should be located. This was very interesting. They had to do research. Imrei Ksiv, it says, "V'kamta v'alisa el hamokam," and you went up, you got up and went up elamokim, to the place. So it says that wherever you are, you would go up to the Beis Hamikdash. Malamed shebeis Hamikdash gevaya mikol Eretz Yisrael. The Beis Hamikdash was higher than all of Eretz Yisrael, and the Eretz Yisrael gevaya mikol haratzos. Eretz Yisrael is higher than all the other lands. Now, the Eretz Yisrael is higher than all the other lands. That we know from another pasuk. That's a different pasuk. That's a pasuk that says that that we wouldn't say anymore. The Chai Hashem who took us out from Mitzrayim, but Chai Hashem who brought us up from all the lands. So we see that wherever you are, to go up to Eretz Yisrael, you're going up. So Eretz Yisrael is higher than all of other lands. But that's not our subject. Our subject is that the place of the Beis Hamikdash was higher. And by the way, you shouldn't miss out on the fact that the Akedah happened by Hara Maria, and we're learning it now in today's daf. So it says that the Beis Hamikdash was higher than the rest of Eretz Yisrael. So where is that? Lo yave yodei duchte. They didn't know its place. Heichel, where it was. So those that learn the Navi Yeshua know that the Navi Yeshua is a cartographer's dream. Right? It's full of maps, and it tells us, Aisu Sefer Yeshua, they brought a Sefer Yeshua, Bekulu, by all of the territories of the different Shvatim, Ksiv Yorad, that the border dipped, and then V'ola Agvul, and then it rose, V'soa Agvul, and the border circled. But by every Shevet, it used the term V'yorad, that the Gvul dipped. B'Shevet Binyamin, V'ola Ksiv, it only said it rose. V'yorad like Ksiv, it doesn't say it ever dipped. So therefore they said it must be that the highest point is in the Shevet of Binyamin. Imre Shmami na Hachiyu Mekaimai. Now, they looked at Shevet Binyamin, and the highest point of Shevet Binyamin was a place called Ein Eaton. So they figured that they should build the Beis Hamikdash in Ein Eaton. Savar lemivnaye be'Ein Eaton to Midlay, which was the highest point. But Imre, they said, Nisisibei Kalul, let's bring it down a little lower, because Kiddichsivu vein Kseif of Shachain, that it will dwell between the shoulders of Binyamin. So not the highest point, but rather the shoulders, which would be Yerushalayim, the Makom of the Mikdash. The Iba Yasema, they did that for another reason. Because Gemire, the Sanhedrin Bechelkai de Yehuda, that the Sanhedrin, which was in the Lishkas Hagazis, the chamber of cut stone, had to be in the Chelik of Yehuda. Yehuda Bechaykiki, Yehuda was the lawgiver. Ushchina Bechelkai de Binyamin, while the Beis Hamikdash had to be in the Chelik of Binyamin. But V'imad Linanle, if they would raise it all the way to Ein Etam, then it would be too far away from Shevet Yehuda, and then the Sanhedrin would not be close to the Beis Hamikdash. It's better to bring it lower, so then the Sanhedrin, it will be right next to the Shevet Yehuda, and the Sanhedrin will be able to be right next to it. And it fits then that it was then between the shoulders of Binyamin, and not all the way at the highest top point, which would be the head of Binyamin. Now, the fact that David HaMelech did this successful sleuthing operation and found out the precise point of the Beis Hamikdash, Doeg, who was a great intellectual, was very jealous of this. Doeg Hadami was jealous of David. And here we have an example of a kinav atayva v'akavod moitzin as adam in ha'olam. We learned in Sanhedrin that Doeg, with his great mind, lost his olam haba, It's a terrible thing, jealousy. Al davar zeh niskana doiga adomi b'David, k'dichsiv, like it says, ki kines beischa, jealousy about the discovery of your house, akalasani, had consumed me. And it also says that David HaMelech said that he won't allow rest to his eyes until he finds the precise point where the Beis Hamikdash should be rebuilt. V'ksiv zechara Hashem leDavid, Hashem should remember of David as kol unasai, all of his suffering. Asher nishbal Hashem, he swore to Hashem im ova ba'oil beisi, if I will come to my house, im eten shenes la'enai, if I would give sleep to my eyes, la'afa poisnuma, or my eyelids slumber, ad emtza mekayim la'Hashem, until I discover the place of Hashem. Hine shemnuha be'efrasa, I heard about it in Ephrasa. Now, Ephrasa is Ephraim. Yeshua was from Shevet Ephraim. So this means I discovered it in Sefer Yeshua. Metzanua b'sdei yara, and I found it in the field, in the forest. Be'Ephrasa means Zeh Yeshua. I discovered it by being medayik in a pasuk in Yeshua, who is from Ephraim. That's Ephrasa. The Kasim Ephraim. Metsanua b'steyar. Now, what creature sometimes is in the field and sometimes in the forest? Zeh Binyamin, Dechsib Binyamin, Zeiv Yitraf. Binyamin was a devouring wolf, and sometimes it's found in the forest, and sometimes it's found attacking in the field. And the place of the Beis Hamikdash was by Binyamin. Okay, I started from the Mishnah. It didn't take us long to get up to the Mishnah. So Baruch Hashem, we're doing fine now as we pause a moment to change the channel over here.